In this video, you'll learn about the areas of settings that affect procurement records. In Settings, Company Settings, on the numbering page, you can set the numbering format for purchase orders and subcontracts. Keep in mind that if you integrate with an accounting system, that system might have a limit to the number of characters these records can have. If you want to include the project number in subcontract and purchase order numbers, test the option to make sure the resulting coding is accepted by your system. On the Payment Terms page, set up the various payment terms that apply to vendors, so you can set them as their default in contact management. Any bills or sub-invoices you create will use the payment terms on the vendor by default, but you can change them if needed. Under Taxation, you'll set up tax codes for each different tax that might be applicable to goods and services that you purchase through subcontracts and purchase orders. You apply a tax code to bill or invoice detail lines, so different line items might have different tax codes depending on tax jurisdiction. You can also choose whether to use a single default tax code for each job cost code, or to use separate AP and AR tax codes for each cost code. Under Feature Settings, Procurement, you can choose to itemize anticipated costs in detail or summarize them by job cost code. This setting affects how you work with anticipated costs, so check out the video on anticipated costs if you haven't watched it yet. In most cases, you'll want to select Do not allow subcontract or SCO items to be modified after sub-invoices have been created. This prevents changes to those documents once you've begun processing invoices. Select Check Duplicate Invoice Numbers on bills and sub-invoices if you want the system not to allow the same invoice number for a given vendor and project. You can modify your bill types list and your PO types list if you want to be able to report and summarize by type. Bill and PO types are optional, so this isn't required. Under Templates and Reports, you can set up scope templates to use with subcontracts, subcontract change orders, and sub-invoices, and then import the scope when you create them. The standard text for those fields can be stored here, and you can store multiple versions if you have different standard scopes that your vendors and subcontractors use. For each subcontract or sub-change order, you'd import the appropriate scope and then modify the language to fit the specific vendor or sub as needed. In this video, you learned about the settings areas that affect procurement records.